People everywhere are starting to listen to him. He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
This is the wide world of Weingarten.
Wide World of Weingarten, Thursday, April 28th, almost 3 o'clock here in Los Angeles. The NFL draft gets started tonight. I know that's what everybody's super excited about. Not surprised, but if you've been following anything this week, you probably noticed that the NFL draft gets far more attention content-wise than your average baseball game or anything in baseball does, really, which is totally understandable. The NFL is, the NFL is so much larger than everything else. It's expected. But in case you haven't been paying attention to the NFL or the Major League Baseball this week, I have several updates for you. So I'll jump right in to baseball today. First one, I guess I have to admit that I was wrong about Justin Verlander. I said that history is not too kind to pitchers who missed almost 2 full years and rehab and come back at 35 plus or whatever. He's proven me wrong, and he's definitely emerged as the AL Cy Young frontrunner through 4 starts, mind you. Plenty of time for all sorts of things to happen. But as we close out April, Verlander pitched 7 innings today, gave up 4 hits, and earned around a walk, and 8 strikeouts through 91 pitches. It was against the Rangers, so not necessarily the best competition, but the stats don't lie. Verlander's back, and he's dropped from 20-1 to about 5-1. Deserved front runner in that race if he keeps it up, but would not surprise me to see him win another Cy Young. I hope he doesn't, because I'm tied to a bunch of other guys in that race, but he deserves the front runner status here. And then there's Manny Machado, who is down to 7-1, second favorite or second co-favorite with Nolan Arenado at Superbook right now. Only Ronald Acuna is ahead of them. Ronald Acuna the Braves announcing that Ronald Acuna will be in right field tonight for the Braves against the Cubs. I think they're still playing the Cubs. That was enough to get Superbook to drop Acuna to 5-1. I'm sure there's probably some 750s, maybe as high as 9 out there still. But new favorite in the NL MVP race, and it's a guy who is yet to take his first at bat of the season. That's Ronald Acuna, now 5-1 favorite. I'm a little surprised that they got so aggressive with his number, especially with the way Manny Machado and Nolan Arenado have been playing. Not to mention Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and every guy on the Dodgers you could make an MVP case for, but. Manny Machado in particular, he had more hits today, 4, than the Reds have wins, 3, currently batting 395. Eric Hosmer is actually leading MLB with a 422 average. A couple weeks ago, you could have got him for nothing. The Padres tried to give him away. Nobody would pay his salary or give up a good enough prospect. So baseball's weird like that sometimes. You're a bum and everyone hates you, and then you're leading MLB in average at the end of April. Machado, 7-1. He's dropped. He was 30-1 before the season. He's the NL leader in WAR, having a fantastic season, and I've talked about him before. He's still only 28, and there was a time when Trout, Machado, and Bryce Harper were the 3 best players in both fantasy and regular baseball. So it wasn't surprising to see him start off so hot. It was surprising to see him 30-1 before the season. I did bet some of that. So see him down to 7-1 now is positive. There are plenty of other runners in this race though, so too early to really talk about front runners so much as talking about guys who have had their odds significantly cut at these sharper books, especially because. If you recall, I've said before that there's no option to lay the no. It's all just one way, betting on these guys. So all they have to do is continue to drop the numbers. There's no action coming in on, can I bet Acuna no if he's 5-1? What can I get Acuna no MVP at? But nobody's going to offer that. So we're really talking about a one-way market here. Similar to the home run pool, where Anthony Rizzo is the new MLB home run leader with 8. Still early. His odds have dropped. He was over 200 to 1. I saw 250 to 1. Now he's down to 8 to 1 at the Superbook. The reason I use Superbook, by the way, is they update their odds most regularly, so they're the best indicator of what's going on in the market day to day. Rizzo's probably not the guy who's going to win, but he's having a pretty strong week. Really hot streak, actually. More than just a strong week. He's currently 13 for 32, 406 average, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs over his last 8 games, benefited from that short porch at Yankee Stadium. Alec Baum, another guy over in Philly. He's reemerging. He has 13 RBIs, ties him for the team lead with Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper, by the way, playing injured. He's got an elbow injury. He's been restricted to just playing DH for now. Don't know if that's going to be a long-term thing, but I do see that's slightly impacting his odds. The current rating MVP is 16 to 1. Little high for Harper. Not surprising. If you get a little bit more drift, maybe out past 20, be interesting if there's an update on his health. If it's not going to be something that's going to shut him down potentially for a month or screw up his season. But Alec Baum with those 13 RBIs, really good for him. He was at risk of opening the year at AAA. Another guy who, hot and cold, like I mentioned, Eric Hosmer. Some of these guys, they could be on the fence and all of a sudden break out. Baum, 2019, I think it was. The short season, was it 2020? Yeah, short season 2020, his September, his numbers were comparable to Freddie Freeman, who ended up winning the MVP that year. So good to see Baum doing things. Also excited on some of his baseball cards. Mike Trout, remember him? He currently has a 270 WRC plus, the highest mark in MLB by 36%. That's also one of the highest WRC pluses I've ever seen. His 544 WOBA, I call it WOBA, 544 WOBA is 46 points higher than the next best player. It's Nolan Arenado. And his 541 xWOBA is 91 points higher than the next best player. It's Ty France. He is now a 5-2 co-favorite in the AL MVP race with Ohtani and Vlad. Byron Buxton, Jose Ramirez, and Wander Franco are the next in line between, I think, 5 and 6 to 1. Nobody else below 25 to 1. Aaron Judge, 25 to 1. I could see him kind of playing his way into the conversation, but unlikely. The market is basically telling us there's 6 main candidates already. We can call them the 6 finalists for the AL MVP as we end April, which is weird, but I am very confident that Trout, Ohtani, Vlad Jr., Jose Ramirez, Buxton, if he stays healthy, and Wander Franco will be at the head of the MVP race at the end of the season, one way or the other. But yeah, Mike Trout really, he there was like a week he hurt his hand, and you saw some of these odds drift. I think I swear I saw like 11 to 1, but that's sort of what I've talked about a couple times now. Is you get some early sort of drift in these future markets sometimes, and then that's the best chance to take advantage of it. Although if you recall last year, Robbie Ray, the eventual AL Cy Young winner, was as high as 100 to 1 after the All-Star break. So there's always value. You just have to look for it in a lot of cases. The Angels, though, they are currently in first place. The Dodgers aren't. That's the first time that this has happened since May 2018 that the Angels have been in first place when the Dodgers haven't been. Shohei Ohtani pitched again last night through 5 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. Both of those coming on a first inning home run by MVP candidate Jose Ramirez, who had 2 home runs in the game. He settled down after that. Threw 5 innings, went 3 for 5 at the plate with a double and an RBI. Again, this is kind of one of those things where the start didn't necessarily move the needle in the Cy Young or the MVP market, and deservedly so. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, whatever. It's not the greatest start. It's it was a good start. He got the win, but it's not nothing. That's nothing that's going to really move the needle in these markets. But when you put everything together and you say that the starting pitcher was also batting second in the lineup, went 3 for 5 with a double, an RBI, and pitched 5 innings, gave up only 2 runs of the game. When he pitched, came off a single home run in the first inning. to me, I mean, we just keep having this argument about whether or not he's the MVP, but absolutely he is the MVP if he keeps doing stuff like that. He really does need to hit some home runs every now and then. But obviously Trout with the 270 WRC plus. Uh, there are other contenders. I'm not going to just say Ohtani wins it outright right now, but when you just look at the fact that starting pitcher casually pitches 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, goes 3 for 5 at the plate, I don't really know what else we need to talk about. Ohtani did get the day off today, though, his first off day of the season. He really does need to rest every now and then. Probably good to sit him out a day game after he pitches a night game. Other games of note, a couple. There was the crazy Twins walk off. I think you've probably already seen that. If you know what I'm talking about. That was Wednesday night. Twins had a very lucky walk off that probably won't be topped all season. I don't think. I mean, we'll probably see some crazy stuff. So maybe not. But that was one of the better wins or worst losses of the season, depending on what side of that you were on. The A's on Wednesday night, Chad Pinder hit a leadoff home run, first batter, top of the first inning. Then the game ended 1-0. So that was unusual. I think that's only the 7th time that's happened since 1974. You don't see only run of the game being scored by the first batter, and then 27 outs after that for both teams without a run, whatever. Crazy. Just thought I'd point that out. And then if you listen to Gil's show on Wednesday, you heard me talk about the Cubs. I bet the Cubs yesterday. They won. They were like 165 or 161 dog at Atlanta. They won 6-3 in extra innings. Charlie Morton didn't look great again. That bet was mostly a fade on Morton, thinking that he was still overpriced year over year, and the market hasn't totally caught up with his decline in form. His pitch quality, his horizontal break, his pitch location have all gone down year over year. Could be a guy who just needs a little more time to rebound, but I tend to think he's getting a little older, and it's the decline is starting. Not everybody has good ends to their career, and I could see Morton not having a great one to his. The Marlins, I think, are 6-1 since moving Jazz Chisholm to the leadoff spot. I think they're actually 5-1 with Chisholm in the leadoff spot and 1-0. He was not in the lineup today versus Patrick Corbin. They're still sitting him versus lefties more often than not. I don't necessarily agree with that, because when you have a potential franchise player like Jazz, you need to have him in the lineup to face left-hand hitting, just because that's the only way he's going to get better. Otherwise, if you're going to have to sit him every time you face a left-hander, he's probably not a franchise player. I do think he's an MVP candidate next year, or in the future. He's a guy who does have MVP seasons in him. I don't think he's there yet. But his teammate, pitcher Pablo Lopez, he pitched well again last night. His ERA is down to an MLB leading .39. Cy Young odds trending down. Obviously still a very crowded field in the NL. But 18 scoreless inning streak and a .39 ERA puts Lopez squarely in the Cy Young conversation until he stops performing. .39 ERA, like I mentioned, is the lowest ERA in Marlins history through 4 starts, surpassing 2004 Dontrelle Willis at 0.71. Corbin Burns, who I think had like 25 or 26 swinging strikes in his start earlier this week, is a co-front runner at 4-1 with Max Scherzer. Both those guys deserve to be up there. Carlos Rodon, Walker Bueller, both at 7-1. Webb, Kershaw, Alcantara, Woodruff, Joe Musgrave, Max Fried, Kyle Wright, Madison Bumgarner all have lower odds than Pablo Lopez, although I guess Lopez is tied with Wright and Bumgarner, all three of them at 25. I mean, you could convince me that he should be like 20-1, or I don't know. I wouldn't move him past Alcantara. Probably make them both 16 if you wanted something like that. But he definitely deserves to be near the top. He's in the conversation until he stops performing. Tom Tango's Cy Young model has Rodon barely ahead of Lopez at this point. Actually, I think that's the enhanced Cy Young, the Tom Tango enhanced model. The regular model has Lopez and Logan Gilbert leading the AL and the NL. Gilbert has surpassed teammate and last year's Cy Young winner Robbie Ray as the Mariners' most likely Cy Young candidate. He's currently down to 12-1 in that second tier with Dylan Cease and Kevin Gausman behind Verlander, Bieber, Cole, and Ohtani. It's going to be really hard to beat Verlander, Bieber, Cole, and Ohtani, but of these guys in the next 12-1 tier, I have McClanahan and Gilbert. I think those two guys have a very good shot of doing it. Both are just certified stud pitchers. McClanahan, it might just come down to an innings thing. Verlander, a health thing. Garrett Cole, I think, I'm kind of neutral on to negative. And Bieber, I'm a little negative on. I think his year-over-year velocities are down, but he's done well, so can't hate on him for what he's done so far. In the NL race, Walker Bueller is the first pitcher to have a complete game this season. It was the highest game score of his career. It was versus the Diamondbacks, who are one of the worst lineups in baseball, but it counts. I mentioned, I think, on Twitter that there's a team in Mexico, the Aceros, de Monclova. I don't remember which pronunciation it is, but their lineup is Keon Broxton, Addison Russell, Chris Carter, Josh Reddick, and Pablo Sandoval, which, as sad as it sounds, might actually be a better top five of a lineup than what the D-backs are throwing out there right now. I think Ketel Marte is injured or something's wrong with him because he's underperforming and everybody around him is replacement level. But Walker Bueller got the first complete game of the season against that group. He's not getting much respect, but we'll see. 7-1, a little high for him. It's definitely a crowded field, though, in the NL. Like I said, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 contenders, and that doesn't include Josh Hader, who, if a relief pitcher is going to win, it's definitely going to be him. But I don't see odds on him at every book, so that's something you kind of got to go shopping for if you really like it. Gonna take a break real quick, come back and talk about some more numbers out there in the Rookie of the Year market, tell you what's going on with that stuff, and then I'm gonna have a couple bets for Friday, so stay tuned for that. Welcome back, Wide World of Weingarten, second half of today's show. Gonna go over some Rookie of the Year stuff. Nolan Gorman, name I've talked about a lot recently, continues to tear up AAA pitching, hit his 9th and 10th home runs of the season Wednesday night. He went 4 for 5, 2 home runs, a double, 3 runs, 4 RBIs. That's going to get him called up sooner than later. I see the Superbook has adjusted him down to 25-1. Max Meyer also got an adjustment down to 25-1. At the moment, I think if someone's going to knock off Seiya Suzuki, it's going to probably be a guy like Gorman or Meyer who haven't been called up yet. If you have William Hill, the national chain, they have Gorman. I think it's also Caesars, by the way, but they have Gorman 40-1, Meyer 60-1. Those are some of the bigger numbers out there. You shop around, there's still some good numbers on those guys. I think, like I said, if somebody's gonna win and beat Suzuki, it's gonna be a guy who hasn't been called up yet. The only thing, I just don't think there's much value on Suzuki at -150 or even money. I wouldn't lay even money on anybody this early in the season. For a Rookie of the Year, you can't win it this early, but you can obviously, establish your resume. Another guy making noise is Joe Ryan in Minnesota. He pitched 7 innings, 1 hit, 0 runs, a walk, 9 strikeouts on 19 pitches, 15 swinging strikes on Wednesday. He dropped under 10-1 in the AL Rookie of the Year race. I think he's 6-1 at Westgate, tied with Jeremy Pena. It's a very, very competitive race in the AL. You got Torkelson, Witt, Jeremy Pena, Joe Ryan, Julio Rodriguez, even Steve Kwan near the top doing things. Matt Brash, I don't think he's gonna be a full season contender, but he's got some nasty stuff and is turning heads in Seattle. And then Grayson Rodriguez, he's been adjusted down to 20-1. Adley Rutschman adjusted up to 18-1. So you got the Orioles' 2 best prospects who are going to be up sooner than later, getting nice double-digit numbers. I don't think Julio Rodriguez is going to get sent down. I think he's gotten past that point. He is not getting calls though from umpires on strikeouts, so that's something to keep an eye on. But the 6 stolen bases are pretty good. I think that's good for second in MLB. So he's getting some counting stats, even though he hasn't got the home runs yet. But as soon as he gets some power and a couple calls going his way, I definitely can see him dropping from his current 8-1 odds. If anybody puts him back past double digits, I might have to dabble a little bit more. Like I said, though, this is a very, very competitive field. Joe Ryan definitely top pitcher in the AL at the moment. Grayson Rodriguez and Matt Brash both behind him. Speaking of Grayson Rodriguez, he gave up 2 earned runs in the first inning versus Gwinnett at AAA this week. Ended up settling down, got through 5 innings, only gave up another run, but it wasn't a good enough start to really get him fast-tracked. He's going to need another start or 2 at least before he gets a call. It's also possible they're going to want to get Adley Rutschman up to AAA and get him behind the plate with Rodriguez calling some games before they call them both up. So it might be more than 2 starts, but I do think Grayson Rodriguez is definitely alive for Rookie of the Year as soon as he gets called up. Then Mackenzie Gore, he's down to 9-1, same as C.J. Abrams. So 2 teammates are tied for 3rd or 4th in the Rookie of the Year pool. O'Neal Cruz down to 5-1. By the way, there's some over 10-1, some 13-1s on Cruz at some other books. So if you do like Cruz, there's definitely some value on him to be had other places. I think, like I said, I'm trying to identify the players I think could beat Suzuki. Cruz definitely has a shot. Abrams, as long as he doesn't get set down, still in the picture. Mackenzie Gore, he's seen his odds drop all the way to 9-1. I could tell you, I think he's going to have a better shot at winning Rookie of the Year than Hunter Green. Hunter Green's seen his odds go all the way down to 4-1, back up to 20-1. He's going to pitch in Coors tomorrow. I don't think that's going to help him unless he does something extraordinary. But Mackenzie Gore down to 9-1. He pitched 5 innings, 10 strikeouts through 102 pitches versus the Reds. But again, the caution here is he's faced the Reds now twice in a row. So we really need to see what he looks like against a real Major League Baseball team. The lineups and everything that the Reds are putting out there are disappointing to say the least. I don't really think. I think it's a good introduction to Major League Baseball to have your first 2 starts versus the worst team in the league. But for Rookie of the Year betting, I'd like to see Gore continue this success against some better lineups before I drop his number too much more. For Friday, I have 2 bets on sides. The Cleveland Guardians plus 115 and the Minnesota Twins plus 109. That's what I got for Friday. Obviously, I'm recording this Thursday, so there's no props to talk about. But yeah, Thursday's mostly a getaway day. We only have 2 games left this evening, and then the NFL draft's going to have most everybody's attention. So good luck. I know lots of people have bet a lot of money on this draft. It's been a very lucrative market the last couple of years. I'm very worried that one of these years we're going to get blown out betting the draft and that just going to be total chaos, but hopefully that's next year and not today. Today, hopefully we're all winners. So thank you for listening. I'll be back with another episode probably Sunday, so stay tuned for that.